is amazing. I'm actually at Atlanta Municipal Airport. This is the hangar. This is the actual terminal, at least for Eastern Airlines. I used to come to the airport with my father sometimes. He worked at United, which I believe was on the opposite side of this building. But the tragedy was when they tore it down, because they got thinking that perhaps if they kept Hartsfield, or if they built it, it would be better for everybody. And it wasn't. It was a worse airport. Hartsfield is the worst airport now. They should have kept Atlanta Municipal Airport. It was a good place to fly out from, and people enjoyed it. What can I say? I mean, you know, you can't beat a place like this. I don't care what you try to do. You can't. It was, to me, it was the most beautiful building, because it had this unique architecture, the arches at the top, and the whole building was arched all the way across except for the middle section, and that's where they had the offices. And then directly above our heads, 20 stories above was where the actual tower was. And I admit the airport was small, but it worked, and that was the important thing. It worked. It kept all the flights coming in and out of Atlanta. They were satisfied, and to me, that was the worst thing they ever did, was getting rid of it, getting rid of Atlanta Municipal Airport. So what can I tell you? It's a fiasco beyond understanding. You know, how did they decide that it was more or less about money they were making than it was about trying to be fair in offering the public what they needed? And they didn't do that. They wanted to make the old dollar bill, but they didn't care about trying to be fair about how homely it was. It was a very, very laid-back place. Of course, now you have terror attacks, you have all these other things, but when they tore Atlanta Municipal Airport down, I really was saddened to see that building went down. People were yelling and screaming and laughter, or praising the fact that Hartsfield was being put in its place, and that is the worst mistake Atlanta ever made, was getting rid of it. And then they made two other failures. They got rid of Atlanta Stadium. They got rid of the Omni. Totally solid buildings, hadn't been up for more than 30 or 25 years, and they demolished those and got rid of them. Makes no sense to me either. I don't get it. But at least in this situation, I can express my feelings about being in this wonderful place again. You know, I can try to walk around some, and you know, at least get the entire view of the building now. You know, but you can't put in words about places you grew up in. You know, you always will feel nostalgia about, you know, the places you remembered as a child, and you know, you feel something different about it compared to other places they build later, because they think it's more convenient. But I mean, they when they tore down the Omni, they built the Phillips Arena. Guess what? We lost the Calgary. We lost the Thrashers. They went to another city, and that was the primary reason they built Phillips Arena, was to promote the idea of bringing things to Atlanta, because we had already had one NHL franchise, was the Atlanta Flames, and they went to Calgary, and it was the worst mistake they ever made, was thinking that if they lost one franchise, it's going to come back again. It didn't. It didn't stay. It was here in 1999, And I would say within 10 years it was gone. Or a little more than 10 years later it was gone. So all I can do, I guess, is just remember these wonderful places and hope that someday maybe somebody will be smart enough to start offering us a chance to maybe they'll find archives of these places and say, well, we can't do a virtual reality of it, you know, in computer form. Then again, maybe they could. That's another thing they even should do for the World Trade Centers. They know enough about the place, they should make a sort of like what they did with Titanic. They reconstructed it in the computer, and then people could walk every deck and see how it looked. And that's what they should do with Atlanta Municipal Airport. They should do it with the Omni. They should do it with all major venue places that are now gone. They should try to preserve these things one way or the other. That's my opinion. That's what I think they should do. So I hope everybody at least had a chance to experience what it was like, because to me this is home right here. This is where I grew up, and maybe someday we'll have a chance to go back again. If they ever rebuild those real nostalgic kind of places. Before I end this video, I want to say this. The arches were reused in another building. It's called Davis Brothers is actually who built this cafeteria out there at the state fairgrounds. Really, it's a farmer's market is what it is, but they have a building out there. And it was originally owned by the Davis Brothers. It's a cafeteria. And anyway, when they built it, they used the same kind of arches in the building. So if you ever have a chance to go to Fairburn, stop by the cafeteria right there in the farmer's market. And the building is exactly like the arches here at the Atlanta Municipal Airport. So, thanks.